Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the new paradigm. Thank you all for joining us today. And we have a wonderful program for you this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you're at. But before we get started, we have a little promotional video that we want to show you. And inshallah, at this time, please take your opportunity and share all across social media. We'll actually have a phone number available where if you have questions, you'll be able to text those questions in, and towards the end of the program, inshallah, we'll be able to get some of those questions answered. So please take the opportunity to share the link that you're watching to all of your friends and family on social media. And if you can just give us a moment, please take a look at this video. Is somebody else there on this phone? Is somebody else there on this phone? And did you try to restart it? Yes, ma'am. Okay, it's playing now. It's playing the credits, so I'm about to come back on. So I'm looking for my speaker box. So I surprised myself, and I didn't see the whole video until now, so I was quite impressed. If you're out there, I know you're probably smiling and clapping like I am. We actually, I'll be open with you. We're actually having a little technical difficulties, but by Allah's permission, we're going to work straight through these, and we're still going to have a wonderful program. Sister Carmen is going to be appearing virtually through my cell phone, and inshallah, you'll be able to hear her, and we'll work it out, inshallah. So The first thing we want to do, of course, is once again welcome you all to the program. As I mentioned earlier, we plan on having an opportunity for all to ask questions at the end through text messaging, and we'll be providing that number shortly. And what I want to do is start off first in the name of Allah, the Omnipotent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there's no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad. And I thank you for raising up the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who we now know as the exalted Christ. And we can never thank them enough for leaving with us a reminder, leader, teacher, guide. And if we continue to watch and see him, we'll see he's so much more. And that's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So once again, assalamu alaikum. So with that video, Sister Carmen, just can you tell us a little bit of the backstory behind how that video came about?
Well, actually, I did not see the video until we went to the first night of the presentation of Torino Fashion Week. And when I saw the video, I was sitting next to Sister Sonia Muhammad, and I was hitting her. I was going, remember, I just said that's the kind of video I wanted to do. So after seeing the video, I was really hyped, because I was like, this is too much. There are no coincidences in the Nation of Islam, just in Islam, period. So when I saw that video, I said, okay, this is just a sign of what we're going to experience, I think, while we're here in Torino. So when I saw the video, it literally sent chills down my arms, because it was a witness bearer to the fact that we were completely on the other side of the world, and we were there as Muslim women representing our nation in the MGP and the GCC. So it was still kind of surreal for me.
Thank you so much. So for those who, of course, from the video, they probably have a little more context of what the Islamic Fashion Council is. But if I could get you to actually tell a little bit about yourself and your background, and actually even your journey before going to Italy last year. Kind of what's your background? How did you get into fashion?
Okay, well, I started very young, as most young girls do. When you're playing with your dolls or looking at your mom and your older sister, you're always playing yourself for yourself, and you're dressing yourself, and you're looking in the mirror, and you want to wear the lipstick. Of course, my mom wasn't in the nation. You want to put on the perfume. You want to do everything that you see that person that is your mom or that figure in your life. You want to emulate what you're seeing with them. My mom was always a very stylish woman, so as a young girl, it was just natural that I wanted to be the same way that she was. As I got older, I was a teenager, I was very much into fashion from the time I was in junior high school, and when I was introduced to Islam, I was 14 years old. And I was just going into high school, and my sister is the one who brought me to hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. By the time I was 15 or 16, I had started the processing of writing my letter. I was still very much doing everything that I did as a young girl. I was a dancer on Soul Train, so I was trying to wean my way away from all of the things that I was doing as a young teenage girl and get my mind right and get ready for Islam. So when I wrote my letter and recited and I got my ex, everybody that all of my friends were saying, oh my God, I don't believe you're a Muslim. You're going to have to dress like them. You're going to have to be covered, all of that. So being the social butterfly that I was, one of the things that we always did when I was going to high school, right before school, me and my girlfriends, we would go school shopping together, and we would choose our own clothes and our own looks. So I knew that everybody was waiting to see what I was going to look like, because it's like, oh my God, this is so not Carmen. This is not the Carmen we know. So at that point, I wanted to style myself in a manner that would be comfortable for the people that I had grown up with and my young girlfriends, that they would look at me and say, hey, wait a minute, you're still fashionable. So that kind of really was the beginning of my, wanting to style myself and wanting to be involved I graduated from and I got married. Become a Muslim, and one of the first things that you're taught in orientation and throughout, you know, MGT is how to take care of your husband, sew, cook, and how to act at home and abroad. So the sewing part was exciting for me because it allowed me to now learn some of the basic skills that were involved in sewing. Although I have this creative in me eye that I felt like I knew what I wanted and I could sketch it, but I didn't necessarily know how to sew it. So I kind of picked it up there. I would sew clothes for my children, but there was another sister, her name was Joan, and she was married to the captain at that time, Brother Captain Waleed Shamsuddin. And she was a magnificent sewer. So she and I would get together, and I would tell her what I wanted to create. And she was talented enough to bring my vision to life. So that's kind of really where it started. And so I just continued down that path as the children got older. You know, no matter what we were doing, we were always involved in fashion. So when they were younger, I started to do these annual fashion shows where once a year I would do a fashion presentation. So it just kind of built from that. So I guess you could say that it was a hands-on kind of learning of how to style fashion or how to come up with creative designs. So that's kind of really where it all started.
Okay. So of course, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but you know, so you kind of explained where you started in terms of fashion, of course, being in the MGT class and learning how to sew. And I guess after that, you probably went and got a few degrees in fashion design, right?
Absolutely not. I got a degree in Muhammad's fashion design, meaning that, you know, the more that I began to style my own look, the more I saw that it was getting the attention of people that were not in the nation. So that just kind of put a whole nother type of fire under me that I wanted to be able to do this. And then, you know, of course, we had the departure of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And at that time, you know, people started coming out of their garments, coming out of their headpieces. But I knew that I wanted to continue to represent myself as a woman, a Muslim woman. So what I did was I continued to style myself, style my dress, begin to make contacts with people who I could take my creative ideas to, who would help me bring my ideas to life. So that's when I started really getting into it. And then I came back into the nation, into the ranks, and under the training of Sister Captain Emeritus Alice, who was one of those people that she was going to make you fly. She would clip your wings and tell you, get out there, do whatever it is that you think is your calling, and we're going to get it done. So she created a women's conference. And every year at this women's conference, we would have a fashion presentation. So it began to grow in me even at that time. And then, of course, you know, as we're moving around the nation and you're being creative like that, I used my daughters sort of as my salespeople. I would dress them in certain things. And then, of course, other young MGT their age would see it and be like, oh, my God, I got to have it. I got to have it. Can your mom do that for me? So that's kind of how it got into where you begin to sew for individual people.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Very inspirational. One of the things that the goals of the Collective 9, and the reason why we wanted to bring you on, is that we have a strong emphasis on education and really believing and knowing that we have to really begin to look at education differently. There's many individuals that are going away for college, and not that we knock that, but as the expense of college increases, is not necessarily practical for everyone to do that. And one of the things that even those who are going to college and going away for college, we're noticing that there's an increase of those who go away. And even after receiving the degrees that they receive, they're still not capable of finding a job, or they're still not able to do the things that they would like to do. So one of the things that we're really pushing is the 9 ministries. And if you give me opportunity, I'm going to see if I can share this with the audience, the description of the 9 ministries. Give me one moment, please. And it says the Ministry of Arts and Culture is the promotion of aesthetics, artistic and cultural expression, and in ways that facilitate mental, emotional, and moral upliftment of members of the society. It includes visual and performing arts, including but not limited to music, film, dance, drama, literature, poetry, visual arts, and sports. It includes promotion of theater companies, audio, video recordings, presentations, competitions, and compilations, and an annual festival of the arts. It extends to wholesome sports, culture for athletic competition, and achievement. So with that, we're really looking at what are the things that we can do so that we begin to establish a new world. And we can't do that with just education. We can't do that with just arts and culture. But you've already shown that your ability to promote this new paradigm in the particular area of fashion. And so with that, how were you received, and how have people received the fashion of the Nation of Islam, that which was given to us by Master Farad Muhammad? And before you answer that, I'm going to go ahead and encourage people to begin to text in the questions that they may have. The number is 773-570-0663. Please share that. If you have questions that you would like to ask, you can go ahead and text them to 773-570-0663. So please, Sister Carmen, go right ahead.
That's kind of a loaded question. And I say that because, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has made friends for us all over the world. And so when we go into these environments, there's already a kind of an open arm for us as Muslims. We were blessed to be able, or I was blessed to be able to be invited, and my sisters supported me, one of them on the line, Sister Georgette, very instrumental in supporting me financially with that, helping us to get there. It's like we were thrust into an environment where we could show the high civilization of who we were as Muslim women. The first thing that people see when they see you is they see what you have on. And generally, that is that first impression that they have of you before you even open your mouth. So when you are a woman of high civilization and you are styling yourself and dressing yourself, and your clothes reflect that, and it reflects the integrity of who you are. It reflects the elegance, the classiness. It allows people to see you in a beautiful garb that represents more the value of the woman and not the shape of her silhouette. Then that is what is different, and that is what is attractive. And as Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, unlike attracts. So when we went to Italy, we went there upon the invitation of Aliyah Khan, who is a phenomenal woman and a phenomenal Islamic Fashion Design Council. And she and Torino Fashion Week and the founder have partnered for what would be an historical event. This was the first time that a mainstream fashion show had ever allowed a segment of modest fashion. So when I was invited, of course you had other Islamic women there, but they were designing, and you saw a lot of their cultural experience in their design, which is what you saw in our designs when we put our designs on the runway. It was reflective of our cultural experience as Muslim girls training in the general civilization class. So it impacted them. You were like, whoa, wait a minute, what is this? Because what they saw was the highest level of civilization coming from us through the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but in a competitive fashion environment. So they were just absolutely floored and blown away. And I think that training that we got from our sister emeritus, Captain Alice, where we were always taught when we move out in the same color. You know, if we're going to wear pink one day, we're going to wear yellow one day. And this was something that Sister Georgette was adamant about. No, we got to do this. We got to do this. And that had an impact as well. Because what they were witnessing was not just high civilization, but they were witnessing the military mindset that we have when we move out in unity and in ranks like that. They had never seen anything like that. So they were just totally fascinated from A to Z. It was like, who are these people? Oh my God, they represent the Nation of Islam. Well, go ahead, dear. We want to see this. So that was kind of the spirit. It was very welcoming.
Praise it to Allah. Thank you. And we're going to get, I know everyone's looking and wondering why the people who are at the bottom of the screen are there. We're going to get into them a little bit in a few moments, but I want to introduce, I have my co-host who's actually assisting with the moderating and actually will actually be helping with those, the questions that you all will be sharing. I'm still looking. Once again, the number for you to send those questions to is 773-570-0663. Make sure you're sharing this on social media as well. With that said, you mentioned a few individuals, and of course, these are part of all individuals that have assisted the team, the Al-Nisa design team at some point in time. And, you know, of course, when those of us, or in particular in the nation and our broader community as a whole, saw these images coming back on social media, we were really proud and happy to see the impact that you were having. And of course, the perspective that we have, of course, is being in the United States and just seeing a few photos and maybe a video here or there. But I know it was probably much different to actually be in the midst of those. So can you kind of share a little bit more? You've already kind of touched on it, but can you share with us and then begin to kind of introduce some of those other individuals that we have on and allow them to share their perspective and what impact that this actually has had on the world?
Yes, sir. They were able to see the embracing I'm going to put it this way, the Black man and woman here in America. You know, we're often projected throughout the world to be one way, and then for them to bear witness to and to see us as we present ourselves in how to act at home and abroad, which we've been taught very well to do so with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, then it opens up the door for a different type of perception and a different type of dialogue to take place. What happened in Torino was really historical. It really was, because we were in over 357 newspaper articles in Italy. And all they talked about was pink hijab ladies. They called us hijab ladies. They didn't know that it was called a headpiece. But they were so impacted by our engagement of them and how we interacted with them. And, you know, I mean, it just changed the whole perception of who we were and what we represented. And I think that it wasn't just a win for us, let's say those of us that were in the Nation of Islam, but it was a win for the whole entire Black universal family.
That's right.
Because we know that what they have seen and heard of us is snippets of negativity. You know, they're quick to show us in positions that are not positive things. So for them to see such a positive thing coming from a group of women, they were just absolutely floored by it. And I think that you know, Sister Georgette, who I'm sure she will, you know, give her perspective on it as well. But I just think that, you know, oftentimes, you know, we take for granted what we've been given, and we don't realize that what we have been given is preparing us for a new world order and a type of rulership that we're going to have over the entire world. But as the Supreme Wisdom say, we have to qualify ourselves for that. And the way we qualify ourselves is by taking what has been given it and applying it in our lives, that we are able to draw people into this great teaching and this great experience of being a member of the Nation of Islam. So for me, it was so many things happening. And I just want to end with this. When the founder of Torino Fashion Week came to Paris, when we did the show in Paris, he looked at me and he said, they're still talking about you all. They're still talking about you. You all helped make Torino Fashion Week, the IFDC, and you all in your presence there. And I said, I love that. I mean, I'm hoping to come back this year. He said, are you kidding? I want you back. And I said, okay, well, can I come back with some more sisters of mine? Because I know that there are many designers in the Nation of Islam. And I wanted my sisters to be able to have that experience that Allah blessed us to have. You know, we have to understand that we're being prepared for something that's so much bigger than Al-Nisa, Sister Carmen, and the designs that we're showing. We're being prepared for a new world that's going.
Sister Carmen?
I'm saying that this is the blessing that I got out of being in Torino. I felt like, okay, Allah, this is our assignment. It's a wide open field, and we must get out there and work in it. And it doesn't say that all of the work have to be done in the cities that we live in. The world is open for us to go out there and work in that wide open field and let these people see the teachings of so when he said return, I said, absolutely. Can I bring my sisters with me? Because these are women that have been designing for years, just like myself. These are individuals that have earned that right to be on that main stage and show the world who they are through their own creativity. So that is why I named my line Al-Nisa, because it's the 4th chapter in the Holy Quran. And Al-Nisa talks about the woman in general. So these are all of the Al-Nisas will be returning with me. And they're going to get to see all of the God coming up out of each one of these designers as they take that catwalk in Torino. And we're going to change the way they look at and see us as individuals here in the wilderness of North America. Inshallah, they will see a new dress, a new mind, and a new woman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. We actually have Brother Bruce, who has been able to join us as well. So, Sister Carmen, who should we bring up first?
We're going to start with Basim. I think we can start with Basim and Bruce, and then start with the family and their family as well. But I think that they are some of those moving parts that people often don't see that help to make us successful and what we're trying to achieve. And they're those individuals that are right there giving us the inspiration.
Thank you. So Brother Basim, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of just what impact, of course, you've been intimately involved in knowing what's going on and have known Sister Carmen for a while. So can you, I'm sorry, she said Brother Basim first, right? Sister Carmen? I guess something went wrong, but yeah. So if you can kind of just share with us from your perspective, you know, what's the impact of this? Is this, you know, are we overstating this? Is this really not that big of a deal?
Thank you, Brother Troy.
Thank you.
And I'm humbled to be a part of this, and thank you for organizing it and putting it together. You know, I don't think you're understating it. From what I've been able to witness uh, in terms of seeing the creativity of Carmen, as well as uh, the all of the impact that I've seen from just witnessing her trips to Europe and as well as Dubai. I think we're actually maybe understating it. You know, I've been blessed and fortunate to uh, be involved in the apparel industry uh, since the mid 80s. And I was fortunate enough to witness the emergence of what was later called the urban fashion or urban wear. Um, Designers such as Carl Kanai, Cross Colors, and then later uh, a athletic shoe company and athletic sportswear company by the name of Dada Supreme. These companies were during a time very impactful, and I watched as they had their uh, influence in fashion, not just in America, but really throughout the entire globe. And it was really surprising to me, even though I knew and I had been able to witness the impact from being here in Los Angeles by seeing it in the media, seeing it in newspapers, and watching it on television. I had an opportunity to travel to Africa about 25 years ago, and when I was in Senegal, we were actually there shooting a documentary for uh, a sheikh, an imam who was running for the presidency of the country. And so up until that time, Senegal had sort of these leaders that weren't really for the people, or really for the country. And when we had arrived, it was the day before the elections, and uh, they were telling us that we should stay in until the elections were over. And they thought because we had cameras and a camera crew that perhaps we might be mistaken for the opposition or actually the outgoing president. And so it was amazing, and I saw just a sea of black faces and African people elated and so happy that the uh, the candidate for their choice and someone who was really for the people won the election. And so we went out, and my job was to photograph everything. And so we got to the presidential palace, and I stood up on the highest place I could find, and all I could see is, as far as the horizon, just a sea of African people. And I started photographing from my position, and I spotted in the crowd uh, a young man who was wearing the Dada Supreme T-shirt, and I was so surprised and so amazed that here on the other side of the world, I can actually witness the impact and the work that we were doing back in Los Angeles and helping develop and grow this particular, brand. So um, when I think of Carmen's work, and I've seen the passion and the drive that she has as a designer, not only am I encouraged, but I'm extremely excited that I'm witnessing something very like what I was able to participate in with these lines that I worked with before. So no, I don't think we're overstating it. I think we, in my opinion, might be understating the importance and the potential that this work is representing. Am I being heard, Brother Troy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Actually, I forgot to unmute my mic. I know that. Thank you for what you shared. I know as we move on, you'll probably have more to share. But thank you for your words. And even though you understated a little bit, even your relevance and just kind of the impact that you've been able to have in this world, you touched on it a little bit, but maybe we can get and hear a little bit more about that a little later. Thank you. So we're going to move into the next person. And Sister Carmen, you're still with us?
Yes, I am. Okay. You were going to talk to Bruce Cecil?
Yes, ma'am. Is there a little that you want to share about him before we let him on?
I met Bruce, oh my God, probably about 15 years ago. And he and I met when I took on the client of the young R&B artist Tyrese. Bruce had worked with Tyrese in the past, and we were getting ready to do a big event for Tyrese, and that is how Bruce and I met. And we met, and we've been joined at the hip since. All of these people are like family to me. So yes. And Bruce's resume literally reads like he and Basim both. Basim is being very mild-mannered because he's an entertainment and a fashion photographer, and shot some of the first pictures of the model Tyra Banks, and he shot so many celebrities and so many fashion shoots and folks. So he's really kind of understated.
Yes, ma'am. I think she may have cut off, but
yeah, he is what I would call a who's who of the entertainment industry when it comes to production, television, film, fashion showcases, all of that. So I'm gonna just kind of let him there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So, Brother Bruce, same question, just kind of from your perspective and your experience. How relevant is what's going on? How relevant is it?
Yeah, that's a good question, and thank you for.
And Bruce, we can't hear you. If you're talking right now, we can't hear you. So you may need to unmute your mic.
Is that better? How's that? Can you hear me now? Huh. Let's see.
We still don't have audio from you.
There you go. How's that? No? Oh, great. 1 second.
So not sure.
Maybe while he sticks in his
Can you hear me?
Move on.
Okay, so
come back. We can move on.
Yeah.
Sister Georgette.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. And Brother Bruce, we're gonna come back to you because we're not getting audio from you now. So maybe we can see if we can figure that out. And after we bring Sister Georgette on, we'll see if we can come back to you. So Sister Georgette.
Yes, sir. Brother Troy. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Of course, you were one of those, maybe the only other person that's on the call that was actually able to attend the first time, right? And
yes.
Mighty MGT, of course, the dress that has been given to us. And you know that even within the nation and even within the United States, there's varying perspectives and various thoughts on the dress. So being one who has had the opportunity not only to be in the United States, but has already traveled different places throughout the country and through the world, what stood out to you about the impact of, Sister Carmen and Al-Nisa design being there with her?
Yes, sir. It was truly a blessing. it was a blessing to be able to see the teachings manifested. For so many years as an MGT, we learn the teachings, and we apply them in our homes, and we apply them
Hello?
in our interactions with people. We apply them in our interactions at work. And it was such a blessing to see the teachings manifested on an international level, as well as the reception that she received from the other Muslims, from the non-Muslims. It was overwhelming. It was almost it was like a manifestation of the teachings. It was a beautiful opportunity. I was blessed to be in Italy, as well as I was blessed to go to Paris with her, as well as I was blessed by the grace of the sisterhood to go to Dubai with her. So it was truly a blessing. The impact we had, you can't even put it into words. It impacted the sisterhood, but I think it also impacted the public as well as the Muslim community abroad.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much. Is there any points that really stick out to you, or what are some of those points that stick out to you the most from the experience?
The most, the truth of our teachings, and the core of our teachings. Every bit of our teachings is right and exact, and our internalizing of our teachings and exuding our teachings is our success. I all I could do when I was there was just thank Allah for, Master Muhammad coming and bringing us the teachings, and the messenger for setting up the MGT class, and the minister for, reestablishing it, and all the wonderful captains I had that inspired us. And it was just very beautiful. When Sister Carmen had the opportunity to be on the runway, and she promoted not just the clothing on the runway, but she promoted getting our sisters, the MGT, on the runway with the mainstream models. And that was a struggle, and she persevered, and she got the sisters on the runway, and they hands down stole the runway. The training and the teachings that they had, they were able to step right in sync and surpass the paid runway models. That was a blessing. And just seeing the impact that they had, they were like the sisters were like gold. Everywhere they went, the cameras went. If they stood on a wall, the cameras came. If they poised, if they took pictures of themselves, the cameras came. They were like, bees to honey. It was a beautiful thing. I was happy for them, and I was very happy that the sisters at home were able to experience and see that the teachings could be, how we were received.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
Sister Georgette is also a designer.
Oh, wow.
And she's one of those designers that we're hoping is going to be on that runway.
She didn't share that.
Yeah, she didn't share that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
And Bruce said that you got it. You did it.
Okay, so Bruce, if you want to see Bruce, if you can come back on now.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear Bruce.
Hello?
You can?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason I don't hear him.
Yeah, well, there's a mute that's appearing on my screen.
I can't hear him.
Yeah,
you said you can or can't?
I cannot.
Hello?
Okay, we're gonna keep on seeing if. What about now?
Sorry, everybody.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, now you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
So same question, Brother Bruce. Of course, Sister Carmen already kind of shared some of your background, and so from that perspective, what is this relevant? Is it overstated, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it seems like a lot of the ground was covered, and no, it's not overhyped. If anything, there's so much room. It's just at the beginning in terms of her branding and getting exposure outside of the community. Really, it's but I don't think anyone has addressed the potential. And I got on late because of all the technology issues that I was having. Nothing to do with, but um, there's, just to piggyback on a little bit on what Georgette was saying, is that there's a certain novelty to seeing not only Black Americans, but Black Americans from the Nation of Islam outside of America. There is a certain novelty to it that I think we've been hearing in a couple of other presenters today. And I think that from my perspective, to really capitalize on that, when you talk about building a brand, what is the buzz? Well, that's the buzz. And how do we capitalize on that? And that's kind of what I'm concentrating on in my efforts, like everybody on this call, to support Al-Nisa and Carmen, who we love, and just how do we take that story, the African American experience, and put on top of it an African American experience from the Nation of Islam, which is a double, kind of a double. I wouldn't say not strike against you, but two things that in America we have to overcome. And you go out here in the rest of the world where very little is known, and there's this great novelty. And for me, the challenge: how do we make sure that we take that and use that to make the brand grow? Because at the end of the day, and that's even why we're on this call and we've all taken time, is how do we make this work? So there's a challenge that I keep putting to and kind of teasing Carmen with, and that is that we're going to take her story, this struggle, and turn it into the novelty that makes this brand pop. One of the things that, as George just said, and I think Carmen before I got on, they just weren't used to seeing sisters dressed alike, walking around with some kind of discipline and not just freestyling. And that was very much of interest to them. So for me, telling Carmen's story is just something that's going to create a lot of buzz, and that's what we really are hoping to do and turn out here in the next few months. And just from a bigger perspective, in answer to your question, is it overblown? No. I mean, it's the beginning of a really big journey, and we're just concentrating on the promotional aspect of it, and that's why going to these fashion shows is important. Because we can throw a fashion show in Chicago on the South Side, and we can go over here, downtown LA, and we can go any place and show Carmen's clothes to ourselves, to us. But to be competitive and get out there and garner support and get the large sales that we need, we got to be out in the world. And so there's this pull that we're doing now between, fighting to make sure that modest fashion has a place on the world stage, and making modest fashion acceptable at the same time, and being politically correct to get in and get those checks written outside of our circle. We're on this precipice of trying to break through that, where the money's coming from somewhere else. We're not there yet, and so here we are today looking at GoFundMe, and I would just say to everybody that's listening on this call, wow, we have a talking point to go out to the world and show that, what, Muslim people, the Muslim religion, Muslim fashion is no different than anybody else. So, we need to combat the negative stereotypes with positive stereotypes. And that's why I'm working with my sister right now, because that's the skills that God gave me: storytelling and Basim. And that's, I don't want to speak for him, but those are some of the things that we're trying to accomplish is, let's take this and tell this story. And for me, it's a compassionate story, because I don't want to put my sister's, a lot of her business in the street, but this is a real struggle. Every time we go somewhere, it's like 20 grand. So, with a new brand that is not established, not in stores, no sponsors, no 00000. We keep coming back to family. Here we are today. But there's value in this for everybody. There's value in this brand succeeding for everybody, as a race, as a religion, as a culture. So kind of reframe this. This is not just about man, we run out here, we're gonna sell some clothes. We're trying to change behavior, change stereotypes, which is really important. So, I can't underscore the potential, and let alone the fact that Carmen is very creative, and that's why she's got a museum show going on that's going international. That's why she's in first position in Torino, because she helped put that show on the map. Not because and because of her story. There was a lot of other great designers out there, but that was kind of a case study to me, and like, wow, there's something to this that's very novel that people aren't used to, and so for me, and I'm gonna just cut it off right there, taking the tools that we have and blowing them up. So and I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing your perspective and your experience, and of course, pushing individuals to go and support in whatever way you can. But we do encourage you to go to the GoFundMe site. It's GoFundMe.com. Al-Nisa Designs. That's ALNISA Once again, that's GoFundMe.com/ALNISADESIGNS. And as you can see, that we're a little over 10% of where we need to be. And this event is coming up very, very, very soon. We want to provide an opportunity for those who may not be able to go to have this experience and have an impact. So once again, share this. If you're not able to see it, or if you're seeing this, the recording, share it, and encourage people to donate and support. Thank you. So who are we going to next, Sister Carmen?
We're going to go to Sister Lisa, who is one of the designers, as well as Sister Georgette, who is a fabulous designer. They were both in the show in Atlanta, and Sister Lisa is going to be premiering her line at the show in Italy. And I'm serious, and I just want to say this. I'm so excited that these designers are gearing up to be a part of this, because what needs to be done is not independent, it's collective. And so what you see, Lisa is one of those designers who's going to be on that catwalk that's premiering her line, and I'm excited about it, and that's why I asked her to be a part of this, because I just want to see how she's doing about it and stepping in those shoes. And again, we're all women who have not been formally trained in this, but God has created that we're able to do it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And once again, I encourage those who may have questions, you can submit those questions via text message at 773-570-0663. And Sister Lisa, are you there? Sister Lisa, are you there? Okay, I don't know what happened. I just saw her face, and then all of a sudden she went out.
We're having technical difficulties. It's all right. They can go coming off straight tap, but it's okay. We still got Sister Halima on, right?
Yes, ma'am. And we'll work on seeing what happened with Sister Lisa. So can you go ahead and introduce Sister Halima?
Yes, Sister Halima is one of my sisters that I've known forever, that I love, just like I love everyone on this call. Phenomenal woman. In the beginning,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, Sister Carmen, Sister Lisa is back. Okay.
I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
I didn't hear the question you asked. For some reason, it seemed like the audio went out. But I can tell you a little bit about our line. We call our line Nina Demure, and we are a family of designers. our mothers and mother-in-laws. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So both my mother and my mother-in-law are women who were interested in fashion as young women, and used their sewing talents in their homes as homemakers. I remember as a little girl, my mother made all of the drapes for our home, and she taught me the basics of sewing. And Saturday mornings was the time every week to get the house clean. By noon on Saturday, my girlfriend and I would go to the mall, buy fabric, and sew all afternoon. So that's where my interest came from. And I'm passing that on to my daughters and granddaughter. So my daughters were instrumental in this line and continue to be. So we're excited about going to Turin, Italy, and we're excited to participate in this show with Sister Carmen and the other MGT.
So I'm gonna take me some money.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So as being one who was on this side of the world last year, and seeing what the response was from, you know, just across the world. What is it about you going this time, being actually one of those, Allah willing, that will accompany her? What are you looking forward to getting out of this experience?
Well, it's an experience for not just myself, but for my daughters. Only one of them has been to Europe. The others have not. And we're just excited that Sister Carmen would think so much of us in our line that she would invite us. So we're just excited. We have a lot of work to do. As she stated, we participated in her fashion show in Atlanta, but this is taking it to a whole nother level. So we're excited.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very, very much. So we got Sister Lisa. We can guess just go ahead and jump right into Sister Halima.
Yes, sir. Sister Halima from Los Angeles. As I was getting ready to state, you spoke early on about people pursuing their education and their education not really working for them. You know, we've been given all of the tools to go out and to get an education, to get our degrees, and to use that talent to develop ourselves. And Sister Halima is one of those people that's doing that. Very powerful individual, an entrepreneur, worked within corporate America, and one of those ones that's at the top of the ladder. But she's also a phenomenal mother, wife. Inspiration to me. She's going to be joining us, and she has a daughter who is a very statuous young woman who is interested in the modeling industry. And that's the great thing about what we're seeing today, because with modest fashion, Muslims don't have to compromise their faith or their religion or their dignity to be a part of a profession anymore, because now modest fashion is on the uprise and is here to stay. So they can become a part of a new generation of women that take that catwalk, but take it with the pride and the dignity that we represent as Muslim women. So I definitely wanted her to, share with everyone for all of the ones that may be listening who have daughters who are interested in pursuing this profession, that it can be done. It's just that it has to be done properly and under supervision and in the right environment and the right atmosphere. So that is Sister Halima.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Carmen. I hope that everybody can hear me all right. I am very humbled at having the opportunity to join Sister Carmen and the rest of the MGT on this trip. Basically, I have a daughter born in the nation, and this is an opportunity that I would like to see her be around Muslims, but be exposed to an industry that generally is not one that we would want our daughters necessarily to pursue, just because of all of the bad, I want to say just the immoral, if you will, reputation that the modeling industry generally tends to have. In this situation, she will be able to demonstrate modest apparel, and also get to, really enjoy an activity for, a young girl. She's in the world, but not of the world, but we live in Inglewood, California. So it's really kind of tough, that pull. So I just want to expose her to more. I've taken her out of the country on other occasions, and I want her to really get an idea. I just want her to see the world as well. I spent some time in Italy about a year ago, went to a few different cities and loved it. Then when I saw Carmen, and I was like, I saw her in Dubai, online, of course, in Dubai, and then in Paris, and then in Italy. And it's just something that I really would like to participate in, support, and expose, again, my daughter to something different so that she can have more options in the choices that she makes. And I think exposure is a lot and very important for us, not only as Black people, but as Muslims in the Nation of Islam. So I am honored to be accompanying my sister and really excited. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity, Sister Carmen, and really excited about the other sisters and those that are supporting you on this show today.
Thank you once again. So I guess once again, want to encourage individuals who may have questions. Please text those into the number is, and it just disappeared. Okay, it's 773-570-0663. So if you have questions, please text them there. Sister Carmen, any comments about what's been said up to this point?
Yeah, I just want to say that, even though we're talking about Al-Nisa designs, again, this is everyone. These are all the designers. Everybody is very important to the collective effort of what we're trying to do. Allah blessed me, of course, with the help and the assistance, like I said, of sisters like Sister Georgette, Sister Sonia, others, to be able to be the forerunner and the person out front. But we're passing the baton, and there's a long line. And everyone, I just want to say that, it's a collective effort, and we're excited about it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think Sister Deborah may have a question. I'm going to bring her up.
Okay. It's been wonderful listening to everyone. It's been very fascinating. And as you all were speaking about your experiences with fashion, I wanted to ask a very basic question that leads into another question. And the question is for anybody on the panel: what is fashion? And how does fashion have the ability to shape culture or define culture? And how do you find fashion to be important as it relates to, because what I'm listening to, it sounds like fashion can actually be part of a paradigm shift. And so how would you say that, what is fashion and how is it related to shaping culture?
Now you all stop fighting.
Well, this is Bruce. I mean, that's kind of a subject that I was talking
Yes.
about earlier. I don't know if you can hear me, but that's exactly.
Yeah,
Sister,
I will say that
oh, can you guys hear me?
fashion has the ability to impact and change not only behavior, but I say attitude, you know. And one of the simplest examples, I think, sometimes when we're dressing to attend an event, or if we're going out, when we put on our garment, we feel and behave differently. And one, because we know these are our, you know, special outfits or special garments, and so we behave differently. So likewise, putting on a designer piece by Al-Nisa, one definitely has to feel good about themselves, and I think as well sort of show that by the way that they behave with you know, interacting with other people, and likewise. So fashion definitely has the power to impact behavior, and then in a grander sense of it has the ability to influence just by observing. For example, the story that has been related when earlier when you were saying about Carmen, and she was explaining herself, when the people in Italy saw them and they saw that they were dressed so wonderfully and they were excited to see them and obviously impressed by them. So fashion plays a tremendous role in you know, shaping behavior as well as attitudes and thoughts and ideas. So that's a good question.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to take a stab at that?
Can you hear Bruce?
What is fashion, and how does it help to impact basically the world and establish a new paradigm?
You know, let me share this, and this is something I shared with Carmen some time ago, and we're talking about the impact of fashion and specifically modest wear, and so this is a magazine cover with a Muslim sister wearing hijab, and she's on the cover. She's a very popular and famous model who has essentially taken the mainstream fashion industry by storm. One, because she's talented and gifted, but also because she insists on whatever she does and whatever job she takes, she will always have her head covered. And so, and the fashion world is eating her up. Her name is Halima, and this magazine is published in Paris. And so she has many of the magazine covers, and I did a video before, sort of talking about it, and also mentioning that I consider her also to be included in this modest wear movement. So, you know, fashion can not only influence but change a person's, you know, behavior and even thinking. I want to also say this. This came to me from a very reliable source, that in the city of Philadelphia, there's a very strong and established community of Muslims there. And I was meeting with a brother who had traveled.
Somebody background noise very distracting. I don't know who.
And so he was explaining to me that in the city of Philadelphia, that there are women who are not Muslim, but who are taking up the dress and the clothing themselves the way that the Muslims dress in Philadelphia. And the person who was explaining this to me said to me, he said, because they love the way that it looks, you know? So, and it's on a very significant scale, on a large scale, that women throughout the city of Philadelphia are dressing themselves because they like the way it looks. So I just wanted to share that.
That's definitely powerful and impactful. That, you know, that we can impact culture and have that type of influence. When we begin to set a trend, and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has talked about, when you look around the world, that, you know, our culture is not seen as just our culture anymore, that everyone is adopting and then picking it up. And in many instances, unfortunately, they begin to take it on as if it was their own and they created it. And just really reflecting on Bruce earlier, even though it's not all about money, is that we have to make sure that we don't allow those who come from the outside to kind of take ownership and receive those benefits from. So thank you for sharing that. I have a few photos that I believe Sister Georgette sent me, and I'm going to see if she can come back on and actually, as I bring them up, kind of give us a little context on these photos. Are you with us, Sister Georgette?
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
And
salam.
I wanted to just speak briefly to the comment that we were discussing. I felt like culturally, the beauty was we were able to express our own culture, the culture as taught to us by the Honorable Minister, Minister Farrakhan, the Messenger, and Master Farad Muhammad. Traditionally, when we go out in the world, everyone has an idea of Islam. They have their perception, and these are perceptions given to them by, mainstream media, propaganda. And the beautiful thing about Torino, and when we step out in unity, the way we've been trained, is that we project our own image. We show the freedom that Islam has given us. We show the beauty of Islam when we step out the way we did. So I honestly feel that yes, dress can change culture, and it can. The world has been given an image of Islam. We projected our own image that day, and people were just blown away by the image that we projected. And we're just blessed to stand on the shoulders of the sisters who, wore headpieces and taught these things for the last 60 to 80 years that we've been Muslim. That Islam has been here in America. So forgive me, I'm in the hospital, so if you're hearing things in the background. But yes, sir. So that particular photo, was taken on Sister Carmen's trip to Paris. That was the team that was traveling with us. Sister Carmen, her assistant, Sister Vivian, Sister, their I'd like to speak to the models. We had some amazing sisters that travel with us. The teachings that the sisters have been giving in class will allow them to step into any arena and not just participate, but excel. We had sisters who had the opportunity to model for Sister Carmen as well as other designers. They were phenomenal. They stole, everyone wanted to be them. The sisters I would like to mention particularly Sister Harmony Muhammad out of Los Angeles, Sister Hassana. In the original photos, we have Sister Ebony, the Sister Samaya, Sister Hassana, Sister Nzinga. This is a fashion designer from Dubai. They wanted to pose with the sisters. She was a lover of the nation and a lover of Minister Farrakhan, her and her family. So it was a beautiful experience to be able. This is the picture from that went viral. This is the sisters were on the side. We were in someone else's show. We were at someone else's show, watching their show, and the sisters were filming. And instead of the media paying attention to the runway, they were paying attention to the MGT, sitting on the sidelines. So you have, I believe it's Sister Nzinga, Sister Samaya, Sister Ebony. I can't quite see because of my, and Sister Sonia Muhammad from Louisiana. They were taking, they were taking videos of the runway, and like I said, the media was not paying attention to what was on the runway. They were paying attention to the MGT. And everywhere the sisters went, if they stopped and stood at a wall, the media came around them. If they stopped and posed, they drew the media. It was a beautiful experience. Our teachings, and every aspect of our teachings on how to act at home and abroad, proper handling of people, how to sew. Everything about our teachings is, if we internalize it, and to the point, and work on it to the point we can express it, it's just a beautiful thing. This particular picture is an article that was on the front page paper in Torino, the front page of the paper in Torino, Italy, where the show was. I believe that's Sister Harmony to the right and Sister Hassana to the left, and they're modeling two designs of Sister Carmen. On the left is the shirt dress. On the right, I'm not sure the name of that one, but these photos were just all over in newspapers all over Italy. But they were beautiful sisters and beautiful representations of the teachings and how they represented themselves. And we'll be forever grateful to how well they represented. In the photo that you're looking at now, like I said, this is from Paris. Sister Carmen had done a show in Paris, and this was immediately after. It was a beautiful show. It was a beautiful show. She had some amazing clothes. I think I sent you some of those pictures yesterday. And she always has a very warm reception from the crowd, from the other designers, from potential buyers. Everyone is very interested in the styles. They call her style like ultra sleek. I believe that's what they termed it in the media there. Oh, this is a designer. I'm sorry, this is a producer who Sister Carmen won an award from. And I believe is she from Turkey, Sister Carmen? Or Dubai? I'm not quite sure, but Sister Carmen won an award, and she was one of the presenters of the award. She's a movie producer. Oh, this is Sister Carmen with Sister Hassana and Sister Harmony, and they did a lot of her modeling in Italy as well as Dubai, and they've done several print work for her as well. It was a blessing, though. I just would have to say it really was a blessing for Sister Carmen to share her opportunity with the sisters, and it was a blessing to be there when we pray, you know, generally we pray, you know, obviously everyone prays for them, for what they need, but it's a blessing to be used, you know, used in your life to be able to, you know, help, you know, not help, but, you know, advance the teachings and promote the teachings around the world. So it was a blessing to be there, because I really felt as if the images that went out and just the images that went out inspired the sisters at home, and it really impacted the sisters who were there as well. So and hopefully the younger sisters will see it and stand on our shoulders and go further, like Sister Carmen said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Georgette. You know, this has been a wonderful experience. We're coming up to 5:30 and we plan on closing, but before we close out with, and I'll give Sister Carmen the closing words, but does anyone have any final comments that they'd like to share before we close out? And if not, I'll give you a second.
I just want to, again, remind people to, if they have been interested or they have been motivated by listening to us, that they should go to the GoFundMe page and give their support, whatever they can, as well as share that link. So I'd ask that people donate to, there we go, to help further empower Sister Carmen and these amazing designers to be able to take this trip, as well as continue to develop and grow their brands and their lines of modest fashion. So I know I'm going to contribute, and I'm going to also continue to share the link, but also in word, also speak to people and carry this message on, because I'm genuinely motivated and happy to know that this is going on. So I'd like to say that. And what about playing the video, Carmen, that was featured on in your trip to Dubai? Were we able to do that? Is that possible?
Actually, where is it available? Can you email it to me, and I'll see if I can close out on it. If you can email it to me, Brother Basim.
Can you email that?
Yeah. Okay, let me do it right now.
Okay. So
I wanted to say briefly, because I wasn't sure if we gave all the details of Sister Carmen's up and coming show. The images we saw last year were from Torino Fashion Week 2017. This particular show coming up this summer, Torino Fashion Week 2018, is what she's raising funds for. And she's raising funds not just for her, but to get other designers there, to get some of our sister models there. So I wasn't sure if we talked about the details of what exactly she's trying to do. She's going back this year, and she's going to be headlining her own show, which is amazing. And so just so people know what we're raising for.
So anybody else before we bring Sister Carmen up and try to get this video so that we can close out? Anybody else, any closing thoughts, closing words? Sister Halima, I'll do a check.
No, nothing here. Can't wait to see you all in Torino.
Yes, ma'am. What about you, Sister Lisa?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that Sister Carmen's spirit, with regard to the sisterhood and inviting sisters, is, I guess the best word I could think of is astronomical. It's the spirit of a true sister, because she wants to see other sisters successful in their endeavors to produce fashions for our women. And I thought it was kind of neat too that both of the brothers were able to share thoughts about what it's like to be a covered woman and how that, you know, when you're covered, that spirit is a spirit that makes you proud to be an MGT and to represent your nation. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I see, Brother Bruce, I see you're out and about, maybe in a trunk or something. I don't know if you had any closing words before we go out and with Sister Carmen. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, I'm going to pass it to Sister Carmen, and she'll share her closing thoughts, and hopefully by then I'll see if we have the video from Brother Basim.
I first want to just thank Allah, thank the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and say what a wonderful thing we all witnessed yesterday. Those of us heard him on WGCI and the radio, and for him to be celebrating his 85th celebration of life and the level of energy and just his dedication. He just never stops. You know, he is so dedicated to us as the people, and just in pulling from his inspiration for all that is being done, because he does so much, and to see him move about the world the way that he does, at his age, at 85 years young, never stops, never complains, never rests, always fighting for Islam, because we would surely win. I just don't feel comfortable not doing more, and this is my way of doing more. And I'm so humbled to have such a great group of brothers and sisters that are with me on this journey, that are committed to this journey, that are passionate about the journey, the same way that I am, that see that the journey is so much bigger than all of us, because what we're doing is we're creating that new world that we may not be here to see, but our children, our grandchildren, and their children will witness that. We have a responsibility, brother. Every day that we wake up, when we go to work, that is our payment for our room and board here on earth. And we should have no excuses. We should be out there, and we should be about making change. And I want to say that this whole thing that we're doing is extremely difficult. It's not easy. It may look glamorous. It is fun. It's fun to do things that you're passionate about, but it also is very challenging. And every time it looks like we get ready to do something like this, I feel Satan coming in my straight path. And what I want people to know is that this is serious. What we're doing is serious. Anytime you're talking about clothing the woman and putting the value back into the woman, that is when you don't think that this is just all fun. We're really, in our own way, putting our lives on the line to uphold the banner and the value of the Black woman here in the wilderness of North America. So it's hard, and there's so many moving parts to it. And no, we don't always have the money. And yeah, I get on the plane a whole lot and don't know where I'm going to get the hotel money from. I do it all the time. I'm not going to even tell an untruth about it, because I don't have the government backs me like some of those other designers. We don't come from a lineage of believe in what you believe in. You move out on faith. And you know that as long as you are doing God's work, that he's going to make a way for you. So all of us, yes, I would love to take each and every designer that I know that can design modest clothing with me. And I would love for us to have a showing that when we come off of that runway, it's done. It's over. That's all they talking about. That they're all their way back over here in the US of A. And they're looking for us because we've made that kind of impact. And we can do this, family. We can do this. But every little bit helps. So I'm saying there are designers that I still haven't been able to register, that I still want to go. In some kind of way, we're going to find the funding to do that, because we are one unit and we represent one sisterhood, one nation. So I'm saying to you that if you would like to support us, please visit the GoFundMe page. Every little bit helps. We need your help, and we need your prayers, because this is not a game. This is not a game. This is a new dress, a new mind, and a new woman. And everybody's not happy about it. So we need all of that coming from those of you who support us. And I thank all of you guys. I love all of you guys. Everybody that's on this podcast with me. Brother Troy, I thank you for taking the time to do this. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm humbled. And I pray to Allah that whatever he grants us, that we are worthy of it, and that we prove ourselves to be something that can provide inspiration for others.
Thank you so much, Sister Carmen. Thank you for all of the presenters, Sister Georgette, Sister Halima, Sister Deborah, Brother Bruce, Sister Lisa, Brother Basim. Thank you all for taking time out of your very busy schedules. And of course, I wouldn't have anything of value to say, think, or do if it wasn't for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and I missed today. And of course, I thank the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and of course, Master Farah Muhammad for coming for us. Once again, this is the new paradigm. Look forward to you next time. And we're going to go ahead and close out with that video. Thank you, Brother Basim. I do have it. So if you all wait one moment, please take a second and check it out.
Someday I'm going to be a fashion designer. It is all over.
My start, humble beginnings. Yet here I am today, by the grace of God, transforming the women of the world with a new dress, a new mind, and a new woman. Modest fashion represents more than beautiful clothing. It represents the value of the woman. It's the movement. The power of Al-Nisa design is that we are the fashion ambassadors of World Peace.
You have a video?
No.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much more. Look forward to you the next time. For those who are able to watch it now, we ask that you share it with as many people as you can. And don't forget the link. It's GoFundMe.com/Al-Nisa Designs. Assalamu alaikum until next time.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Brother Troy.